If you were born before 1966, there's something important you need to know before August 2026 comes to an end. This isn't about a brand new Social Security law or a surprise benefit cancellation. Instead, it's about a series of common issues that affect thousands of beneficiaries every year. Issues that often begin with something as simple as an unread letter, outdated banking information, or a misunderstanding about how payments work. For many Americans, Social Security isn't just another monthly deposit. It's the income that helps pay the mortgage, cover rent, buy groceries, afford prescription medications, and keep the lights on. When that payment arrives on time, life continues as expected. But when there's a delay or an unexpected notice from the Social Security Administration, even a short interruption can create unnecessary stress. The good news is that most of these situations can be avoided if you know what to watch for. Today, we're going to walk through the most important Social Security reminders for August 2026. We'll explain why some beneficiaries receive official notices this time of year, how payment schedules really work, what information you should always keep updated, and how to protect yourself from scams that continue targeting older Americans. And make sure you stay with us until the end of this video because there's one mistake many retirees make after changing banks or moving to a new address. It seems harmless, but it can create payment delays that take weeks to resolve. Knowing about it now could save you a great deal of frustration later. Let's begin. For millions of Americans born before 1966, Social Security has become one of the most dependable parts of their monthly finances. After decades of working, paying payroll taxes, and contributing to the system, these monthly benefits help provide financial stability during retirement. Others may receive Social Security disability insurance because of a qualifying disability, while some receive survivor benefits after losing a spouse or parent. Although each program has different eligibility rules, they all share one thing in common. They rely on accurate records and up-to-date information. Many people assume that once they're approved for benefits, they never have to think about Social Security again. They expect the payment to arrive every month exactly as it always has. And in most cases, that's exactly what happens. But life changes. People move. They switch banks. They change their phone numbers. They update email addresses. Sometimes they begin working again after retirement. Sometimes they get married, divorced, or lose a loved one. In other cases, Medicare premiums change or banking institutions merge with another bank. These events may seem unrelated to your monthly benefit, but in some situations they can affect how the Social Security Administration communicates with you or where your payment is sent. That's why reviewing your information at least once a year is a smart habit. Think of it like maintaining your car. You don't wait until the engine stops working before checking the oil. The same idea applies to your Social Security records. Taking a few minutes now can help prevent much bigger problems later. One of the biggest misconceptions is that every official letter from Social Security is bad news. That's simply not true. In reality, many letters are routine. They may confirm your annual benefit amount, notify you of Medicare premium adjustments, explain cost of living increases, provide tax information, or remind you about changes to your online account. However, some letters do require action, and that's where many people run into trouble. Imagine receiving an envelope from the Social Security Administration and assuming it's just another informational notice. You set it aside to read later. Days become weeks, and eventually the letter gets buried under other mail. What you didn't realize was that the notice requested updated information or asked you to verify something by a certain date. Now, instead of resolving the matter quickly, you're spending hours on the phone trying to fix an issue that could have been addressed in just a few minutes. This happens more often than people realize. That's why financial experts often recommend opening official government mail as soon as it arrives, even if you don't think it contains anything urgent. The sooner you understand what's inside, the sooner you can respond if action is required. It's also important to remember that the Social Security Administration communicates in very specific ways. Official notices are generally sent through U.S. mail or through your secure online Social Security account, if you've created one. This distinction matters because scammers have become increasingly sophisticated. Every year, Criminals target older Americans by pretending to represent government agencies. They know that hearing the words Social Security or benefits immediately gets people's attention. Some scammers claim there's a problem with your Social Security number. Others say your benefits have been suspended. Some insist that your account has been linked to criminal activity. They often create a false sense of urgency by saying you must act immediately or you'll lose your monthly payment. Then comes the real goal. They ask for personal information, your Social Security number, your bank account details, your Medicare number, or they demand payment using gift cards, cryptocurrency, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. These are all major warning signs. The real Social Security Administration does not demand immediate payment through gift cards or cryptocurrency. Government agencies also don't threaten people with immediate arrest over the phone, simply because they failed to verify information. If you ever receive a suspicious phone call, text message, or email claiming to be from Social Security, the safest response is to avoid sharing any personal information. Instead, end the conversation and contact the agency directly using the official phone number listed on the Social Security Administration's website or through your local Social Security office. Taking that extra step can protect not only your monthly benefits, but also your identity. Identity theft has become one of the fastest-growing financial crimes affecting older Americans. Once criminals obtain enough personal information, they may attempt to open credit accounts, redirect benefits, or commit other forms of fraud. Protecting your Social Security information is just as important as protecting your bank account. Now let's talk about another issue that surprises many retirees. Your monthly payment doesn't just depend on your eligibility. It also depends on your payment information being accurate. One of the most common reasons for delayed benefits isn't a government error at all. It's outdated banking information. Maybe you switched to a different bank because another institution offered better interest rates. Maybe your local branch closed. Maybe your bank merged with another financial institution and issued new account numbers. Or perhaps you opened a joint account after getting married or helping manage family finances. If your direct deposit information changes and Social Security isn't updated correctly, your payment may not reach the intended account on schedule. Fortunately, preventing this type of problem is usually straightforward. Whenever you change banks or open a new account, make sure your direct deposit information is updated through your secure Social Security account or by contacting the agency directly through official channels. It's also wise to verify that the first payment reaches the correct account before closing your previous one. That extra precaution can help avoid unnecessary delays and eliminate the stress of tracking down a missing payment. Another simple habit is checking your bank account around your normal payment date. Most beneficiaries become familiar with the day their payment usually arrives, but deposits can sometimes appear at different times depending on your financial institution's processing schedule. Seeing that your payment hasn't appeared first thing in the morning doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. Many banks post government deposits later in the day. However, if your payment still hasn't appeared after allowing reasonable processing time, it's a good idea to first contact your bank before assuming there's an issue with Social Security itself. Often, the bank can confirm whether a deposit is pending or whether additional information is needed. Understanding how this process works can save you from unnecessary worry and help you know exactly where to turn if a payment doesn't arrive as expected. One question that comes up every single month is, when exactly should my Social Security payment arrive? You'd be surprised how many people become anxious simply because they aren't sure which payment date applies to them. A friend may tell you they already received their money while you're still waiting. Suddenly, you begin wondering whether something has gone wrong with your account. In reality, different beneficiaries receive payments on different days. For most people receiving retirement benefits, the payment date is tied to their birth date. Others who started receiving benefits many years ago may follow a different schedule. That's why comparing your payment date with someone else's isn't always helpful. Instead, it's much more important to know your expected payment schedule. When you know the correct payment date for your own benefits, you're far less likely to worry unnecessarily if someone else receives their payment first. Another thing worth remembering is that banks don't always process deposits at the exact same hour. Some financial institutions make government deposits available just after midnight. Others may post them early in the morning. Some wait until normal business hours. This is completely normal and doesn't automatically indicate a problem. Patience during the first few hours of your payment day can often save you unnecessary concern. Now, let's talk about something many retirees don't realize can affect their Social Security records: life changes. Life rarely stays the same for very long. You may move to be closer to your children. You may downsize into a smaller home. You may relocate to another state after retirement. Perhaps you've recently gotten married. Maybe you've lost a spouse. Some people decide to return to work part-time, while others become caregivers for family members. Each of these changes can have different implications for your Social Security records. That doesn't necessarily mean your monthly benefit will change immediately, but it does mean your information should remain accurate. For example, if you move and forget to update your mailing address, important notices could be sent to your old home. Imagine missing a letter requesting additional information simply because it was delivered to an address where you no longer live. By the time you realize what happened, valuable time may have already passed. The same principle applies to your phone number and email address if you've created an online Social Security account. Keeping your contact information current ensures that official communications can reach you without unnecessary delays. Another situation involves returning to work. Many retirees choose to work a few days each week, whether for extra income, to stay active, or simply because they enjoy it. There's nothing unusual about that. However, depending on your age and the type of Social Security benefit you receive, earnings may affect certain aspects of your benefits. For individuals who have not yet reached full retirement age and continue working while collecting retirement benefits, annual earnings limits may apply. If your earnings exceed those limits, part of your benefit could be temporarily withheld under Social Security rules. Once you reach full retirement age, those earnings limits generally no longer apply in the same way. Because everyone's situation is different, it's important to understand how your own work plans fit within Social Security's rules. If you're unsure, reviewing your situation before accepting a new job can help avoid surprises later. Disability beneficiaries also need to pay close attention when returning to work. Social Security has specific reporting requirements for work activity under disability programs. Failing to report employment when required could eventually lead to overpayments that the agency may later seek to recover. That's why keeping your records accurate isn't just about receiving benefits. It's also about preventing future complications. Speaking of overpayments, this is another topic that often creates confusion. Sometimes beneficiaries receive a notice stating they were paid more than they were entitled to receive. Hearing the word overpayment can be alarming. Many people immediately assume they've done something wrong. But that's not always the case. Overpayments can occur for a variety of reasons. Sometimes the Social Security Administration updates information after payments have already been issued. In other cases, reported income, eligibility factors, or administrative corrections may change the amount that should have been paid. Receiving an overpayment notice doesn't automatically mean fraud occurred. However, it is something that should never be ignored. If you receive such a notice, read it carefully. The letter generally explains why the agency believes an overpayment occurred and outlines available options. If you believe the information is incorrect, there are established procedures for requesting reconsideration or discussing repayment options. The key point is this: ignoring the notice won't make the issue disappear. Responding promptly gives you the best opportunity to resolve questions while the information is still fresh. Now let's turn our attention to another important part of protecting your Social Security benefits: your online account. More beneficiaries than ever are using their secure My Social Security account to review payment information, update certain personal details, estimate future benefits, and access important documents. If you've already created your account, it's worth taking a few minutes every so often to make sure you can still log in successfully. Verify that your password is current. Confirm that your contact information is accurate. Review your direct deposit information. Look over recent correspondence. These simple checks don't take very long, but they can help you identify issues before they become larger problems. If you haven't yet created an online account, Having one can make it easier to monitor your benefits and review official information directly from the Social Security Administration. Of course, always make sure you're accessing the official government website rather than clicking links from unexpected emails or text messages. Cyber criminals frequently create fake websites that closely resemble legitimate government pages. Always double-check the web address before entering any personal information. Let's pause for a moment and think about how much has changed over the last decade. Many government services that once required in-person visits are now handled online. While this has made many tasks more convenient, it has also increased the importance of digital security. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication when available, carefully reviewing account activity. These aren't just technology tips anymore. They're financial protection tools. For retirees living on fixed incomes, preventing fraud is often just as important as earning additional income. Losing access to your Social Security account or becoming the victim of identity theft can create months of unnecessary paperwork and stress. Fortunately, a little caution goes a long way. Never share verification codes with anyone over the phone. Never provide passwords to unexpected callers. And never assume that someone claiming to represent the government is actually who they say they are. When in doubt, contact the agency yourself using official contact information. You'll never regret taking an extra few minutes to verify before sharing sensitive information. There's another point that's especially relevant in August. Many people use the summer months to travel, visit family, or spend time away from home. Vacations are wonderful, but they can also make it easier to overlook important mail. If you're planning to be away for an extended period, consider having someone you trust check your mailbox or arrange for mail forwarding if appropriate. Missing an important notice simply because you were out of town is completely avoidable with a little planning. Remember, protecting your Social Security benefits isn't about constantly worrying. It's about staying organized. The beneficiaries who experience the fewest problems are often the ones who spend just a few minutes each year reviewing their records, updating their information, and reading official correspondence carefully. Those small habits can make a very big difference. There's one more topic we haven't discussed yet, and it may be the most important of all: complacency. After receiving Social Security benefits for several years, it's easy to assume everything will continue exactly the way it always has. The payment arrives. The bills get paid. Life goes on. That routine creates confidence, which is understandable. But it can also lead people to overlook small changes that eventually become much larger problems. Think about it this way. Most financial setbacks don't happen because of one massive mistake. They happen because several small issues go unnoticed over time. An unopened letter, a forgotten address update, an old bank account that was never removed from the system, a suspicious phone call that seemed believable. Individually, these situations may seem minor. Together, they can create weeks or even months of unnecessary stress. That's why financial experts often encourage retirees to perform what you might call a Social Security checkup at least once or twice a year. Just like scheduling a routine medical checkup helps identify health concerns before they become serious, reviewing your Social Security information can help identify administrative issues before they affect your monthly income. So what should that checkup include? Start with your personal information. Is your mailing address still correct? Has your phone number changed? Are your emergency contact details current? If you've moved recently, have you confirmed that all official government correspondence is being sent to your new address? Next, review your banking information. Ask yourself whether the account receiving your benefits is still active. If you've changed financial institutions over the past year, verify that your direct deposit information was successfully updated. Even if you've already made the change, checking once more provides additional peace of mind. Then think about your online security. Have you changed your password recently? Is it unique, or are you using the same password for multiple accounts? Cybersecurity experts consistently recommend using strong, unique passwords for financial and government accounts. If available, enabling additional security features can also help protect your personal information. Another good habit is keeping important Social Security documents organized. Many retirees receive annual statements, benefit verification letters, tax documents, and Medicare-related notices. Instead of placing these papers in different drawers around the house, consider storing them together in a dedicated folder. That way, if you ever need to reference previous information or respond to an official notice, everything is easy to find. Organization may not sound exciting, but it can save a tremendous amount of time if questions ever arise. Now let's talk briefly about family members. Many adult children help their parents manage finances or organize important paperwork. If you're assisting a loved one with Social Security matters, encourage them to review their information periodically rather than assuming everything is fine. Sometimes an extra set of eyes can catch a simple mistake before it becomes a larger issue. Of course, any assistance should always respect the beneficiary's privacy and follow appropriate legal and financial guidelines. The goal isn't to take over someone's finances. It's simply to make sure important information isn't overlooked. Another question many viewers ask is whether they should worry every time they hear a headline about Social Security. The answer is no. News stories often focus on proposed legislation, budget discussions, or future policy ideas. Many of these proposals never become law. Others may take years before any changes actually occur. That's why it's important to separate headlines from official information. If you hear about a major change affecting Social Security, take a moment to verify it through reliable sources before assuming it applies to your own benefits. Official announcements from the Social Security Administration provide the most accurate information about payment schedules, administrative updates, and program rules. Avoid making financial decisions based solely on social media posts or sensational headlines. Unfortunately, misinformation spreads quickly online. A dramatic headline may attract attention, but that doesn't necessarily mean the information is accurate. Whenever possible, verify first. Now, before we finish today's update, let's quickly review the most important takeaways. First, read every official Social Security notice you receive. Even if it appears routine, take a few minutes to understand what it says. If action is required, responding promptly can prevent unnecessary delays. Second, keep your personal information current. Addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and direct deposit information should always reflect your most recent details. Third, know your payment schedule. Understanding when your benefit is expected helps reduce unnecessary concern if someone else receives their payment before you. Fourth, be extremely cautious of scams. Never provide sensitive personal information to unexpected callers. Never send money using gift cards, cryptocurrency, or wire transfers because someone claims to represent Social Security. If something doesn't feel right, stop the conversation and verify independently through official channels. Fifth, review your Social Security account periodically. Whether you receive retirement benefits, disability benefits, or survivor benefits, staying informed about your records is one of the best ways to prevent administrative problems. Finally, don't ignore changes in your own life. A new bank account, a move to another home, returning to work, marriage, divorce. These events may require updates to your Social Security records. Taking care of those updates early can save significant time and frustration later. The reality is that the overwhelming majority of beneficiaries receive their monthly payments without any issues. Social Security continues to provide financial support to millions of Americans every month. The purpose of today's discussion wasn't to create fear. It was to encourage preparation. When you're informed, organized, and proactive, you're in a much better position to avoid common problems that affect many beneficiaries every year. And remember, if you ever have questions about your own benefits, payment status, or personal records, the safest approach is to contact the Social Security Administration directly through its official website, your secure online account, or your local Social Security office. Your situation is unique, and official representatives can provide guidance based on your individual record. If you found today's update helpful, take a moment to help someone else. Share this video with a friend, a neighbor, a parent, or another family member who was born before 1966 and relies on Social Security benefits. Many payment issues and scams can be avoided simply because someone received the right information at the right time. And if you enjoy straightforward updates about Social Security, Medicare, retirement planning, government benefits, and personal finance. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We regularly cover important developments, explain how they may affect everyday Americans, and help you stay informed without the confusion or sensationalism that often surrounds financial news. Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed, stay cautious, and most importantly, take a few minutes this month to review your Social Security information. That small step today could save you a great deal of stress tomorrow. We'll see you in the next update.